It's funny, Frank. Everybody keeps telling me the NBA is broken. There's not enough parity in the NBA, right? That's a narrative that everybody keeps telling. And I was kind of thinking about it. I think the NBA has a lot more parity than people believe. Let's think about the 90s. In the 90s, we had obviously the Chicago Bulls dynasty, and it was led by Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was there for 6 years. They went to 6 NBA finals. What happens in the 2 years, though, when he was gone? In the Eastern Conference, we had the New York Knicks and the Orlando Magic go to the NBA Finals. In 2 years, when Michael Jordan was gone, two different teams went to the NBA Finals. The last 10 years, LeBron went to 7 straight NBA Finals. 7 straight in the East. LeBron leaves the East. What happens? Raptors go, Miami Heat go, Milwaukee Bucks go. 3 different teams in 3 different years, which got me thinking, does the NBA have a parity problem? Or is it just when there's an all-time player, a Michael Jordan, a LeBron James, a Kobe and Shaq, a Tim Duncan, when they have those guys, they just get to the finals every year. They showcase their stars. Once those guys are gone, those guys that wreck the league, the guys that dominate, all of a sudden, there's tons of parity. Look at the NFL. In the NFL, we had Tom Brady and Peyton Manning go to a combined 12 or 13 Super Bowls in 20 years. Is that parity? Or is that just two all-time GOATs carrying teams? The NBA and the NFL have it figured out. You get all-time players, they got to go to the finals. Look at the NHL. You have Connor McDavid, arguably the greatest player I've ever seen play, playing with another great player, Leon Draisaitl. They can barely make the playoffs. And when they do make the playoffs, they can't win a game. The MLB has two all-time elite talents, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. They can't even finish top 2 in their own division. So you can sit there and tell me the NBA is broken. It's the same teams. The NFL, same teams. I'm kind of sitting there going, isn't there a little bit more parity than we want to admit? And you can't tell me the NBA is broken because the NBA and the NFL are the two most popular sports. The NHL and MLB, I'd argue those are the ones that are broken. They're broken. They can't get their stars into championship games. Which led me kind of down the line to thinking the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors, I'm watching the NBA Finals. We have a third team in 3 years make the NBA Finals, an unreliable team. And I'm sitting here in the East going, I thought the Raptors had to rebuild. I'm kind of sitting there thinking, I don't trust Milwaukee. I don't trust Philadelphia. I don't really trust Atlanta yet. The Knicks, I don't trust at all. I'm sitting there going, I kind of would like to see them rebuild, but I'm kind of sitting there going, maybe they should kind of use that pick and try and go for it. What do you think, Frank?
Well, it's a fair, it's a fair statement, and I think when we talked about this after our post deadline Raptors trade deadline talk, we were saying, look into the composition of this team. Is the window closing, or is it still open? And it starts with Kyle Lowry. Siakam to a lesser extent. But, Rob, my question to you is, how many teams have successfully bottomed out and get back to the same position within a year, 2 years? I guess in the NBA, let's just say. You know what I mean? Like, how quick does it take to build a team? Say, listen, if the Raptors are going to do it, it took them a long time to get to there. And we're talking, Rob, it's a mix of drafting well, so we know they got the 4th pick. Mm-hmm. Can you sign a free agent to come to Toronto?
Yeah.
It's still debatable. All those things kind of have to – and, Rob, you see what happens in the NBA. One guy goes there, he brings his buddy, those other, and they build a super teams. Toronto won't be building no super team anytime soon. So, again, you're right. In the East, kind of all bets are off, right? But I think where they're going, where they're heading, is not going to be with this for number 4 pick. Do they flip it because they believe that they have 2 or 3 guys in Van Vliet, Siakam, if Lowry stays? Can they compete in the East with what's happening? Personally, I think no, because I think that, I think Brooklyn's going to continue to spend the money to bring in the right guys to do what they're going to do there. And I think the Knicks are becoming less of a laughing stock and more of a free agent destination to spend money, because New York is New York, right? It is what it is, Rob. So I'm going to say no. My long answer is no. I think the Raptors should start to build around that 4th pick.
This was a tough one for me because I think we saw the Miami Heat a few years ago when LeBron left and Dwayne Wade left and Chris had his health issues. Within 2 or 3 years, they drafted really well. They signed a big free agent and they got back to the finals. Now, I guess you look at Jimmy Butler and you're like, are the Raptors going to sign a Jimmy Butler? But couldn't you argue maybe the Raptors are a lot closer than we think? They're one superstar away, I guess, but aren't most teams one superstar away? I'm sitting here going, you've got some good pieces, maybe not great pieces. And if this was the Western Conference, I'm sitting there with no question going, blow it up. But I kind of sit here saying, maybe you do. I would explore it, and I hope Bobby Webster and Masai have explored trading that 4th pick. See what it'll get you. Maybe don't do it, but see what it'll get you. Kind of look and go, let's see what the value is. And if you don't get what you want, then you sit there, you call up Golden State, and you say, hey, maybe let's look at trading Siakam. Let's move it on, and let's rebuilding and do almost like a quick rebuild. Because I'm looking at the stars in the East. The East might be wide open for a few years. All the superstars seem to be out west or on one team in Brooklyn. That's the other team I named, Brooklyn, which I don't trust either. But the rest of the East is kind of like Giannis. We've seen the Raptors kind of neutralize Giannis. We've seen average teams neutralize Giannis, so we know he can be neutralized. Brooklyn Nets, kind of James Harden, Kyrie. I don't really trust those guys. So maybe if they can do a quick rebuild, you look at trading Pascal, moving on from Kyle. But I would definitely explore that 4th overall pick and see if maybe I can squeeze a guy out of somewhere.
Rob, quickly, that 4th overall pick, is that a franchise type player?
Yeah, so the Raptors got really lucky because the top 4 is like Jalen Suggs. I don't know if you guys, that was the Gonzaga kid that hit the like. I mean, he looked great in the tournament. He is projected right now as a 3 or 4. It is a 4-man draft. You got 4 good players, so the Raptors actually lucked out. Even if they don't take a guy, that pick now becomes far more valuable than if it was 7, or I believe I think they were kind of slotted in at 7 or 8. Now we're looking at 4. That 4th pick has value, and a team that maybe is looking to move on from a superstar, maybe they're just they want that 4th overall pick. You can get a nice haul. I might look into trading. I might be looking into trading that pick.
Is there any merit to trading a signing trade with Kyle Lowry and using that 4th pick, take a guy like Suggs and go him and Van Vliet? Sorry, they had the other point guard there.
Malachi Flynn.
Yeah, is that somewhere where they go?
I mean, but why? See, a signing trade doesn't really make sense for Kyle because Kyle's then going to go to a team that's worse off than they are right now. Why wouldn't Kyle just sign there? He's a free agent.
Sign and trade with the Lakers or with the Sixers.
Yeah, I don't see that happening with Kyle, just because that basically makes the team that Kyle's going to a little bit weaker. And that isn't Kyle kind of about winning right now. If he's not coming back to Toronto, he's either going to play in Philly for a legacy, or he's going to Miami to try and help them win, or he's going to Lakers to help them. He's going somewhere to win. Kyle's a grinder. So for him to sign and trade, I mean, why would Kyle want to make the team he's going to weaker? I don't see that, but I don't. I'm really torn. This is a very fascinating offseason because there's directions. They're not tied into one thing. And depending on what the offer is for that fourth overall pick, maybe they say, let's kind of clean this out a little bit and get a little mini restart going here. I think the Raptors are in a much better spot, though, than people think. And this is a team that has proven they are good at developing. Um, NBA Finals, before we get out of here. Any thoughts? Who you think is going to win the series? Phoenix, Milwaukee. Giannis is kind of, I might be playing on one leg. What do you think?
Um, looking at it, I just think that I like the Chris Paul story. Again, we talk about good stories, guys rallying around,
Yeah.
a good thing. I don't think this is one of those things where if Phoenix doesn't get this done, I don't see them coming back. You know what I mean? Like the Lakers will probably, maybe they'll be back to Providence, Golden State, maybe they're back. Denver, maybe they take the next step. Is Phoenix on? Obviously, they're on their way up, but they're on their way up to winning the West again. I don't know. Milwaukee, I still think as long as Giannis is there, there's always a chance they'll be back. The coach, I'm not crazy about the coach. Thank God thank God he didn't become the Raptors coach.
He did a huge favor to the Raptors.
Oh my God! But I just think this is Phoenix's chance. I think they're the team of destiny, and I think Chris Paul deserves it. So I have Phoenix in 6.
From a path point of view, yeah, Phoenix. I mean, the West is going to be a lot tougher, and with this player mobility, now there's talks that Dame's going to be leaving Portland. Maybe he goes to the Lakers. Golden State's going to be reloading. You got to take your opportunity when you get it. And I'm also rooting for Phoenix, not only because I picked them last series. I said they're the best team left. I thought they were going to win the NBA title. But Chris Paul, I mean, has there been a guy that has been more disrespected? Everywhere this guy goes, it's dysfunction and he wins. It's amazing. I can't think of another guy that has been cast off like this, like a superstar. He's a star, this guy. And he's been cast off like he's a bit role and almost forgotten about. When he left the Clippers, we almost kind of forgot about him. Went to the Thunder, turned them around. Now he's gone to Phoenix, turned them around. The guy is just unbelievable. I hope he gets his title because it's just people that deserve it. I'm not saying that the Bucks don't. I'm not saying that Giannis doesn't because Giannis puts in the work. But this Phoenix team, I really like them, and I think that franchise deserves a title.
Can I say one thing about Giannis?
Fire
Giannis will win the NBA championship, maybe multiple, but it won't be with Milwaukee.
That's and there's a tease. Where will it be? We're not going to tell you just yet because we don't know.
I don't think he knows either.
He doesn't know either. You might be right, Frank. And maybe he gets kind of sick of Chris Middleton, just kind of underachieving a little bit. But you got the Phoenix Suns in 6. I got him in 5.
Okay. Before we go, yes or no? Ben Simmons, good fit for the Raptors?
Yeah, he is actually. Ben Simmons has to go to a team where they don't have anybody in the lane so he can drive to the hole because he's not an outside guy. He's actually been rumored to go to Golden State, which would be really scary if he goes to Golden State.
I just thought from a development standpoint, Raptors have a good way of doing it. I just thought he'd be a nice fit under Nick Nurse.
He'd be a nice fit. The big question about Ben Simmons is not on the court; it's off the court. Is the guy going to put in the work? And this is the thing that we don't get to see across sports. We don't get to see it in hockey where you have this uber talented guy and it doesn't work, and it's like, what if he's just not putting in the work in the offseason? I mean, there might be some superstars here in Toronto that we've criticized for not putting in the work in the offseason. So Ben Simmons is not on the court, man. The guy's he's Magic Johnson. It's just, how much does he care about basketball? How much does he care about putting in the work? There are guys that don't care. Anthony Davis doesn't care. He doesn't put in the work. Comes in out of shape. Ben Simmons, it's a real question mark. But would I love to see him in a Raptor uniform? Man, it'd be kind of sick to see.
All right, Robbie.
On that note, like, subscribe.
Hey, for Fari, how'd I do? Not bad for a guy who doesn't know much about basketball.
Less pushback when I talk with him, but all right, Frankie. It was great sitting in with you today, bud. Let's get
See
out of
you,
here.
buddy.